York Ranger team. There's the slogan, "No Quit New York," which, a lot of these slogans I feel like are corny and, really it's just more marketing based, but there actually is legitimate truth. They completed the comeback. 3-1 down in the series, coming off of an embarrassing 7-2 loss in Game 4. And they were trailing in each game. In Games 5 and 6 by multiple goals. In Game 7, they were trailing with less than 6 minutes left in the game. And they won them all. They did the same thing in 2014 and 15, and really those were way more battle-tested teams. I mean, the 2014 team, they had been through a 2012 run that was that got into the Eastern Conference Final. 2013, they got to the second round. And even the prior years, depending on, for the homegrown guys, the Rangers were a perennial playoff team. And then certainly by 2015, after coming off of the Cup final, 2014 team, they were also battle tested. So for this team to do it, the only guy that was on those teams was Chris Kreider, a very young Chris Kreider at the time. I didn't, as resilient as they were all season, I never thought that they had that level of moxie and determination, and it was not pretty. Look, I think Pittsburgh was the better team in the series. I think you look at this 7-game series, I think Pittsburgh was the better team. But the Rangers, there is something to be said for finding ways to win. When it happens this frequently, there is something to be said for that. Even though statistically it may not make sense, Gerard Gallant, he's able to push those right buttons. And this was a team last year under David Quinn that this is a lot of the same roster. It's a little bit different. Some players have, taken a step, have progressed. Young players that have gotten better, things like that. So, of course, it's not exactly the same, but they went from a team that was very unclutch to extremely clutch. They win these close games, and it's just simply, it's still kind of tough to process for me right now. Like, what an amazing comeback, and I don't even know what to say. Artemi Panarin is the hero. Artemi Panarin gets the game-winning goal in overtime, and I had mentioned him in last episode, but it didn't go the way that I thought or hoped that it would. He was awful in this game. Artemi Panarin was terrible. No other way to say it. But it's crazy how these things work, where Artemi Panarin ends up getting the game-winning goal in overtime. And so, like Stefan Matteau did in 1994, like Derek Stepan did in 2015, you have a Game 7 overtime goal. That's Artemi. That goal will be remembered, forever. And again, this is the first round, so it's nothing close like Stefan Matteau, and even Derek Stepan was second round. So, but still, Artemi Panarin, who, if the Rangers lose this game, there's talk about him as far as him not getting it done, and it would have been deservedly so. But when you get a goal like that, all is forgiven. Simply put, all is forgiven. Igor Shesterkin tonight, who didn't get one of the 3 stars of the game, he absolutely deserved it. I mean, he made it, 42 saves? The most ever saves in Rangers franchise history in a series. And the funny thing is, and obviously it was a 7-game series, so you're going to get a lot of saves naturally because of that. He was pulled in 2 of the games. He didn't play in 3 of the periods. So, right. So essentially it's like I guess there was the triple overtime game, but still, Shesterkin, who in the middle of the series really struggled, like he found his game again, like as the series kind of wore on, and it's good to see that he came through and mattered most, and you kind of knew that about Igor. That's what made him so special, is that he did rise to those occasions. He rise to the occasion. This is a young goaltender who this is such important experience. For Igor to be successful in that moment is huge. I thought Shesterkin was amazing. Really, for me, the best skater for the Rangers was Mika Zibanejad, who I was very hard, in terms of his game, the first 5 games of the series. He was amazing in Game 6. For me, he was the guy in Game 6. And then in Game 7, amazing. Zibanejad, with a goal and 2 assists, gets the game-tying goal in the third period. This is good stuff. This is really good stuff. Where Mika Zibanejad, there's so much to talk about. I mean, Sidney Crosby played. And I wanted that. Sidney Crosby played. Tristan Jarry was in goal for the Penguins. Ricard Raquel was back. I was totally welcome to that the whole time. It legitimizes the victory more. And the Rangers did a pretty good job of shutting Crosby down. They really did. Even though I thought the Rangers did not play well at all, but in terms of that aspect to it, it wasn't like it was a Crosby night. Definitely not. So, and I just think getting this win, it validates the season at large. 110 win season. This was a continuation. And I always say that this was uglier. Like the Rangers, they had been playing better than this. I felt like this was a bit of a step back, but just in the ways that they were able to find ways to win all year long. That's a good sign for a team. Is it sustainable over the course of a playoff run? No. But I just think over time to be able just to have a winning foundation is huge. And we'll talk about the Carolina series when we get there. This is a Pittsburgh, recap. I think the Carolina series is going to be ultra challenging. I am not expecting the Rangers to win that series. I'm excited just to be there. Excited just to be there. And for the Rangers to have maybe a couple more weeks of playoff hockey is great for me. But for this was the key series for the Rangers. The Penguins, this was the team that all year long, you kind of knew it. It looked like maybe it was going to be Rangers Capitals. But all year long, it looked like Rangers Penguins, and the Rangers were able to, they're the last man standing between these two teams. And if you're a Pittsburgh fan, you have to be distraught. To be up 2-0 in Game 5, to be up 2-0 again in Game 6, to be up 3-2, like I said, with less than 6 minutes. And there's other, the Penguins had chances to really put this away at times, and they just could not do it. It's almost forgotten about, but the Rangers had a penalty kill. The Rangers had to kill off an Artemi Panarin, I believe it was Panarin, right? A Panarin high sticking penalty. Rangers were able to kill that off. So as far as the game's concerned, it was the same lineup for the Rangers as it was in Game 6, which made sense. So now it was a scratch again. The Rangers did not play Braun and Schneider much at all. They leaned heavily on the top four, as they should have. Braun and Schneider did not play much, like really minimal. And then as well with the forwards, where the Rangers basically rolled two lines. I didn't even and looking at the ice time, I guess three, but the fourth line, Ryan Reeves played less than less than he played 6 minutes and 19 seconds. He barely played in this game. And Kevin Rooney only played 9:51. Kakko only played 8:49, and he also took a bad delay of game penalty. It was interesting. Tyler Mott basically had top 6 minutes, and deservedly so. Tyler Mott, a very key piece to return. And I hope that Barclay Goodrow can maybe make his way back towards the end of the Carolina series. I'm not optimistic, but I kind of didn't think that Mott would come back. He kind of took over for Vetrano with Zibanejad and Kreider. Mott played more than Vetrano, and so he's a good defensively responsible player with speed. He did have a shorthanded breakaway opportunity. I think he will eventually score. It's amazing. He has not gotten a goal as a Ranger yet, but I like his game a lot. But that's lineup stuff. Anyway, the Rangers, the first 10 minutes were pretty even, I would say. And the Rangers do cash in really after a failed opportunity by Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh almost scored, and Schneider gets it over to Zibanejad. 2-on-1 play. Zibanejad makes a really nice saucer pass to Kreider, who scores a one-timer slap shot goal over the glove of Tristan Jarry. That is his weakness. Tristan Jarry, even though I thought the Kreider goal and the Zibanejad, those were good shots, that is where you want to test Jarry. Is above, is that glove side, top shelf, and Kreider scores his 5th goal of the series, like I said, from Zibanejad and Schneider, and the Rangers make it 1-0. Unfortunately, from there, though, the Rangers would take a lot of penalties. Artemi Panarin takes a slashing penalty. Like I said, Panarin, it was a nightmare regulation for Panarin, and he ends up being the hero. But Panarin takes that penalty. The Rangers kill it off. Then it's 4-on-4 when Strome and Rust are called for roughing penalties. But here's the big issue. On the 4-on-4, Jacob Trouba, such a stupid fucking penalty by Jacob Trouba. A 4-minute high sticking penalty. Mike Matheson was bleeding. And so the Rangers kill off the beginning portion. The 4-on-3 part killed off, which was tough. Eventually, though, with less than 2 minutes on the power play, It's a goal by Danton Heinen. Danton Heinen's third goal of the series, ties it up at 1 at 18:51 of the first, and it was a close call, but it was a goal. It just got over the line. In fact, the play continued, and then all of a sudden, you heard the buzzer, and once you heard that, you knew that it was going to be a Pittsburgh goal, and it was. So Adam Fox almost stopped it from going in. I'd also say that Adam Fox had a very up and down game. Jacob Trouba had a very up and down game, more downs for Trouba. And so 1-1, end of 1. We head to the second, and Rangers would have a power play. The first one of the game, Mike Matheson interferes with Kevin Rooney, but the Rangers don't score. Power play was rough until, of course, they get the game-winning goal. And then at 9:43, after a bit of a scrambly sequence, Kakko takes the game penalty, and the Penguins score. It is Jake Gensel's 8th goal of the series from Rustin Crosby at 10:18 to give the Penguins 2-1 lead. This was a bit of a controversial goal as Guentzel, it was close to a high stick. The ruling on the ice was a good goal, and it stood. So the Rangers didn't really get the breaks in terms of some of the goal reviews, but they were able to overcome that. And not to say the Rangers didn't have breaks in different areas in terms of injuries or other things, but in terms of the goal reviews, that was kind of rough, but Pittsburgh gets the goal, and so it's 2-1. But the Rangers with a nice quick response. Bit of a fluky goal, but you'll take it, and it's K'Andre Miller's first ever playoff goal from Andrew Kopp and Ryan Strome. And this goal was 1 minute and 5 seconds after the Guentzel goal. So this was a goal that goes off of Mike Matheson. Mike Matheson was responsible for a lot of Ranger goals, at least 3 that went off his skate. So Miller ties it up at 2. And then the Rangers would get a power play as Brian Rust cross-checks Jacob Trouba. Unfortunately, it was a failed power play, but to make matters worse, mind you, the Penguins have already scored 2 power play goals. Evan Rodriguez scores a shorthanded goal at the very end of the power play, unassisted, on a really bad turnover by Filipino. K'Andre Miller was not able to catch up to Rodriguez. I mean, he was there, but I guess he didn't want to take a penalty. It was kind of similar to the Malkin goal in the last game where Trouba makes the turnover and Miller couldn't catch Malkin. And I was hoping that Igor was going to – if there's one mistake that I thought Igor made, I wish he was more aggressive and he charged out and beat Rodriguez to the puck. It would have been risky, but he stays back and Rodriguez scores. And this felt like a backbreaker. It really did. Penguins take a 3-2 lead. At this point, they have 2 power play goals and a shorthanded goal. So the Rangers special teams was awful at this point. And so it's 3-2 Penguins going to the third. And really, there were chances for the Penguins to make it a 4-2 game. I mean, Igor was making really key saves. The Rangers were very fortunate in some ways to only be down by 1, but that would have been a tough way to kind of end their season on a shorthanded goal by Evan Rodriguez. But in the third period, the Rangers would fight. Artemi Panarin would take that high sticking penalty, as I mentioned earlier, but the Rangers were able to kill it off, and Zibanejad was tripped by Jeff Carter. So the Rangers get a little mini power play. And as I had said, Tyler Mott had a shorthanded chance during the Panarin high sticking penalty, but unsuccessful. So we go to about 6 minutes left. And this is when Mika Zibanejad gets the biggest goal of his career. He ties it up, his 3rd goal of the series, and give another assist to Andrew Kopp. So Kopp with 2 assists at 14:50. Now the interesting thing with this play was Alexis Lafreniere was battling. I believe it was Marcus Pettersson. It was either Matheson or I think it was Pettersson. And Pettersson's helmet vault comes off, so he has to leave the ice. And so from there, Pittsburgh was pretty scrambly. Letang came up, but they never got reset. And eventually Zibanejad with the quick one-timer gets it over Jari's glove and in. And so it's 3-3, and we go to overtime. So here it is, Game 7, overtime, everything on the line. And K'Andre Miller, using his speed, and K'Andre Miller, Rangers are very fortunate to have a young player like K'Andre Miller. The sky is the limit for him. Like he has all the tools. This could be one of the best defensemen in the league. When his career is over, seriously, he has the ability to do it. K'Andre Miller goes on a bit of a mini breakaway, and Brock McGinn has to hold him. It was a definite holding penalty, so the Rangers get a power play. And a smart job by Gerard Gallant, as he had done during the regular season, to use the timeout to set up, give these guys a little bit of a breather. And with about 10 seconds, less than 10 seconds on the power play, they finally strike after it was a pretty weak power play to start. Artemi Panarin, who, like I said, had been awful in this game. He really was not very good in this series. He is the hero. The bread man gets his third goal of the series, giving assist to Adam Fox, then Mika Zibanejad, and the Rangers are victorious. They celebrate kind of right near where the Derek Stepan celebration happened in 2015 against the Capitals. So some symmetry there, but Panarin is the hero. And it'll go down, definitely as one of the more memorable goals in Ranger history. And just, I'm proud of this team. They never gave up when they could have. It would have been easy to, honestly. This was a very good season, but this is kind of why I was excited about them in the first place. The ways that they were able to win games. There was many comeback wins. This was a comeback team. I believe they had the most. Yes, they for a while they were leading the league in comeback wins, and I think that they ended up finishing that way. Like this team, it never fazed them to be losing. Now on the fans, it makes it tough. Because it was rarely easy, but they were able to find a way. And so for the Pittsburgh Penguins, questions abound about their future. This could have been it for that crew. Obviously Crosby's going nowhere, but who knows what the future holds for the Pittsburgh Penguins? And this maybe was the end of that era. We'll see, though. But for the Rangers, the future is bright in general. I think this Carolina series will be one heck of a test. I don't really think it's going to go well for the Rangers. I've always felt that way. For the Rangers, hopefully, you can make things interesting. And obviously the goal is to get a split. You'd be ecstatic with a split in the first two games. But for the Rangers, they got to rest up, get ready. And I'm just excited to watch more Ranger playoff hockey. But again, just to come back from 3-1 down in the series, to be trailing on each of the games, that's everything that you as a fan, it's about as good as it gets. Obviously, it'd be easier if it was all domination, but, players responded, stepped up to adversity, just a lot to like overall. And so again, not much else to say. The New York Rangers, no quit in New York is true. They win it 4-3 to complete the comeback. And we will see what the future holds, but they should be very proud of themselves, and it's a night to celebrate in New York. The Rangers get it done.